Welcome back to Rev It Up Bowling. My name is Jason Robarge, and today we have another ball review for you. What we're going to do today is reviewing the brand new Beyond Infinity from Brunswick. This is their new asymmetric pearl that they put on the market, and is the successor to the Infinity. This ball is pretty cool. Asymmetric pearls. So most of the time you think asymmetric pearls, you're going to think of a ball that gets down lane pretty well, but hooks a decent amount and flips pretty hard. What's cool about this bowling ball is it does all those things. However, it is kind of a unique ball as far as the numbers go. It has in 15 pounds a 2.52 RG, 0.051 differential, and the most interesting part is a 0.010 intermediate differential. If you guys watch some of my other videos when I talk about differential and intermediate differential, with a symmetric ball, you don't really have an intermediate differential from an undrilled bowling ball. Once you put a thumb in it, changes. But for this sake, this has a 0.010 intermediate differential. What that means is it is not that much of an asim. By USPC rules, I think you're supposed to have a 0.008, 0.010, which is what this is, intermediate differential, to have to mark the bowling ball, and that's what this one is. It's a very, very small intermediate differential, which makes the ball a little bit less skid flippy and a little bit smoother, especially for an asim. Now, talking about symmetrics, it's still asim. It still likes to stop a little bit more on the back end, but we're gonna see that here in a second. We're gonna go ahead and get lined up, throw some shots, go all over the place, figure out what this ball does and what it likes. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Beyond Infinity, the first thing you guys are gonna notice is obviously the color. This thing is pretty. It is very, very pretty. For a pro shop operator like myself, shelf appeal, man, it's got all that. I think the effect was gorgeous with the 4 colors, but man, they did a great job on this bowling ball. When it goes down the lane, it looks pretty cool. What we're gonna do is try to, start somewhere around second arrow. It's not gonna work, it's just too much ball. We are bowling on house shot, and if you guys have watched my videos before, my house shot hooks a decent amount. So more than likely, I will have to get left some, but we're gonna go ahead and get warmed up around second arrow. Yeah, I figured. I tried to give it some oomph too. It's just too much ball for where it is, too much friction. I have thrown this ball in the league already. It is a bowling ball that I'm reviewing that I have thrown in the past. Now I did redoctored the stock surface, which is 500,000, 1500, and compound. I personally love pearls with some surface underneath and some compound on top. I usually don't need a ball to hockey stick more for me. General polish, sometimes a little too much for me, unless it's like towards burn. So I really like compound. Let's go ahead and move a little bit more left. Nice. That hit hard. I wouldn't normally play this on house shot where I'm standing. It's just I have to throw it too hard and I'm lazy. One thing about this bowling ball is, in a comparison to it, is I just did the effect, guys. The effect had a little bit lower RG, a little bit bigger differential, and much higher intermediate differential. Where I see this ball kind of playing is kind of a step after the effect. If I don't need that much hook potential, and that ball, even though it's still a pearl, has a more aggressive cover stock and wants to read the mid lanes a little bit more. This one's gonna be a little bit cleaner. It's gonna be a little bit sharper down lane. However, it is going to definitely be more continuous. I did put a 4.5 by 60 layout on this, which is kind of typical. It's one of my benchmark layouts. Same thing on the effect as well. However, these do respond quite differently. I struck from there, move a little bit more left. Not too bad, not too bad. So when I was throwing this on house shot, what I noticed is the cover stock especially. Just from visuals, it's a lot cleaner of a cover stock than the effect or some other pearl asymmetrics out there. It likes to get through the early part of the lane very, very easily, and it's sort of responsive in the mid lane. It's a little bit smoother than a typical asim just because of that low intermediate differential. I also put a 60 val on this. It's gonna slow the mid lane up even more and be less skid snappy. I struck from over there. We're gonna move left a little bit. The biggest thing I want you guys to notice on this one is the change in direction. Asymmetric pearl, again, like I mentioned, it's supposed to respond relatively quickly, especially with an asim, it's gonna respond even quicker. However, intermediate differential, guys, lower it is, the more symmetric like the ball will roll. Very nice. Even though I said, it doesn't respond as quickly as the effect, it's still an asim, it's still a pearl, guys. It comes out of the box with compound on it. Naturally, this ball out of the box is gonna be pretty quick to respond, just not as quick as some of your other big ASIMs. If you need something that's, you know, Paragon Pearl, the Effect, those kind of bowling balls have a very high intermediate differential and have a high differential as well. So what that kind of means as far as ball shape goes is when you have a ball like the Paragon Pearl, the Effect, of course, those bigger block ASIMs, especially pearls, you're gonna see them want them to kind of flip relatively late down lane, still a high diff, it's gonna flare a lot, but flip pretty quickly and kind of roll forward. What you're gonna see with this ball is it likes to continue a little bit more. What I like about that is bowling balls that are similar to this, but maybe are symmetrics like the Stealth Pearl, sometimes it can be a little too continuous. They're just gonna wanna continue on the back end, go through the pins, take out the A pin a little bit more. If I need something that strolls the back end a little bit more, but I'm still fighting head oil or head friction, right? And the ball isn't blending as well, you know, hooking earlier, just doesn't have enough. You can go to this kind of ball, you know it's gonna clear the heads, but it's also going to lay off the pocket a little bit more. This kind of bowling ball for me is gonna fit probably somewhere around transition. I could see myself throw this on maybe longer patterns with slightly less volume. It's not a crazy aggressive bowling ball that Beyond Infinity is. You know, moderate amounts of oil, maybe a little bit longer patterns from a sport shop perspective. This ball will be good for it. Maybe a little bit into transition if the heads are fighting you some. On house shot, so far what I've seen with this, it's pretty dang versatile. I threw all 6 games, the 2 night leagues of night, I threw this ball. I threw them all 3 games, both nights. It worked pretty well. When I got deep, moved into a lot more oil, it was a little bit iffy kind of deal, but this ball definitely enjoys some kind of friction, but it just doesn't have the cover stock to really plow through all of that oil, especially on a house pattern where the mids are soaked with oil. It goes to like 42 feet. It's just not enough ball, not enough cover stock, really, not enough surface to play like that deep with this kind of bowling ball. However, if there is some free hook there, this is gonna be a good ball for that. So we're gonna move a little bit more left, and then I'm gonna kind of show you guys a little bit about what I'm talking about with the mid lane, where it kind of misses that oily spot. You know, this isn't broke down quite yet, so not a lot of stuff got shoved into the middles, but I'm gonna try to just show you guys an example of what I'm talking about. When we move left on a house pattern, typically we're gonna be moving into a lot more oil. It's almost like you're moving into a completely different pattern. I'm gonna move left, but the idea with this ball is I wanna keep it in the oil. With our house shot, with a lot of house shots, get it in a little bit and it goes 60 feet. But if you send it right to the friction really fast, it duck hooks and goes Brooklyn. These kind of bowling balls like this will be good to help blend them out. ASIMs typically, especially if they're that clipped with some sharp back ends. I'm gonna go ahead and move left, try to play a little tighter. And the idea, it probably won't work because it's not broken down quite enough yet, but this ball will probably float 60 feet going down the lane because it doesn't see that friction. Let's see if we can attempt this miss. It's kind of weird to say on a ball review, but whatever. We're gonna try to keep it tight, play around that 3 pin. Oh, I missed it. That was a decent example. If I was throwing maybe a 3.0 or maybe a solid cover stock with this type of core in it, that ball maybe would have picked up a little earlier and made it back to the pocket. So that's one of the things I did notice about this ball is, I wouldn't say it's allergic to oil, but it definitely likes to see that friction for sure. But we're gonna go through the same shot. I'm just gonna slow it down and try to make it strike. But keep in mind with this kind of bowling ball, it likes some friction. Like dead, fresh sport shot, house shot's a little different. There's a lot of friction in house shots. Might not be the ball for you. It might be something, you know, your 2, 3, 4 ball, something during transition. Gonna throw another shot. Nice. You guys are gonna see on Specto, it does transition quickly, but it continues a little bit. It doesn't transition and roll straight off the back end of the pattern. And I do like that when I don't need something crazy continuous, but I still need something that controls the pocket, i.e. ASIM. A couple more shots. Move back right a little bit, a little too far left. Give it back, I want to send it right into the friction. Like any ball, too much friction, it's gonna plaque 10 like that. That one, again, just in the friction a little too long, got it a little bit too far outside, had to make up too many boards to get back to the pocket, and didn't have any energy to go through the pocket. Your 6 pin lays in the gutter. Let's not have that happen this time. Better shot. Very nice. Seems like a lot of the guys, a team event especially, are throwing a little bit bigger bowling balls. some around 3rd arrow, maybe 4th arrow, depending on your hand, your rev rate. But they're using slightly shinier equipment, not the strongest stuff out there, no mindsets, you know, nothing innovators, nothing crazy like that. But they're using bowling balls kind of like this one. Will this go to nationals with me? I'm gonna put some more games on it. I have a few months to figure that one out. But last year, the Black Widow 2.0 hybrid did really, really well for me, but sometimes I felt like it was a little, so I can combat that with some polish on that ball, or I can see that this would be a good complement to the Black Widow 2.0 as well. Nah, got inside a little bit. If you guys hear me sniffle a lot, because I just got done battling the Black Plague, I almost died. I'm also a male who turned into a little girl when they're 6, so I think it might be worse than that, honestly. Let's throw another shot. Hey, new ball carry. That was terrible. Oh God, missed off my hand a little bit. When you guys are trying to think if you want to purchase this bowling ball or not, if you want a really, really pretty bowling ball, definitely it. Especially if you're into the, right, Toy Story, Beyond Infinity. The shirts that match this ball perfectly. But outside of that, ball reaction wise, if you guys want something just clean, it's aggressive from an overall hook perspective. However, it's not the most aggressive thing out there. I could definitely see this again fit in your guys' bags after your your fresh equipment to a point in combination of your transition stuff. I can see this complement one of my transition balls, which is the Stealth Pearl, also the Ethos. They are drilled differently. They are very similar as far as numbers go, but one has a 4.5 inch pin, one has a 5 5/8 inch pin, right? The 5 5/8 gets down lane a lot more, still hooks a decent amount, but it gets through all the gunk in the mids and stuff here. With the Stealth Pearl, reads the mid lanes a little bit more susceptible to picking up the front. Where this ball lies, I feel like can be jammed anywhere in between or outside of those two bowling balls. If you need something that gets to the heads, cleaner through the mids, and has some nice recovery, this would definitely be the ball for it. I'm gonna go ahead and move left because I do an every ball video and it's fun to hook a bowling ball. We're gonna just check the recovery on this and then one in the mid. It likes to cross some boards too. Obviously I have to slow it down and hit on it a little bit more, but it definitely can cross some boards. On this house shot, our house shot's pretty wide open. It's not the easiest thing in the world. You still have to battle a lot of 10 pins, a lot of 7 pins. But in general, you know, typically I'm ending somewhere around where I'm standing. It just depends on what type of ball shape I need. Let's move a little bit farther left. Ooh, I would not normally play this on house shot, but it is fun. Recovery on this ball doesn't seem like there's a massive limit. Pros of this bowling ball: you need something clean through the fronts and very mellow through the mid lane, but provides recovery on the back end. This will be what you're looking for. Medium volumes of oil, probably, depending on when you do throw it. If it's a fresh shot, it could work pretty well. It just might be a little bit sharper on the back end because it's not burning energy right through the fronts and the mids. Or more particularly is kind of when I want to throw this ball is on a transition. Probably not, you know, definitely not like a short pattern, anywhere from 38 to 44 feet, somewhere around there from a sport shot. I could see this work pretty well. One of the things about this bowling ball I do enjoy is I like trapping the ball. When I say trapping the ball, I mean my angles are going right at the 3 pin, and all I'm looking for that ball to do right before the head pin is just flip over a little bit. I can definitely use this ball for that. It has a clean enough cover, it gets down lane enough, and it doesn't read the mid lane as much as like an effect, right? The effect is a little bit harder to trap because it hooks a little bit earlier. Now, obviously the volume of oil can dictate that as well, but I do enjoy on some sports shots trapping the ball into the 3 pin, and I can see this work pretty well for that. I'm gonna go ahead and throw one more shot and see if we can strike. Struck a lot this video. What do I wanna do? Nice. Again, this ball hooks an okay amount for sure. It's definitely not the strongest ball ever made. Doesn't have the core to represent that as well, but you know, with the higher RG, especially in an ASIM like this, it's gonna want to get down line. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please let us know. We enjoy all the feedback we get. I've been a little bit lax on getting back to some of the comments on our most recent videos because I've been dead the last week, but we're gonna have more content coming out, more bowling balls, more tutorials. If you guys want to see anything on our channel, just send us a comment. Hey, I want to see this, or I want to see ball motion, you know, whatever the case may be. Let us know and we'll put it on the list to get made. This summer, we're gonna have a lot of time on our hands, so we're gonna be doing a lot of content. Also, I do coaching here locally. We have a sports shot league and all that sort of stuff. Keep an eye out for our channel for any new content coming out as well. So if you guys like this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. We much appreciate it. My name is Jason Robarge. This is Rev It Up Bowling. Much love. Peace.